In the last video, I recreated this NEMA 17 motor. This motor was pulled from an online reference. However, there's more than one motor that this company makes. And as you can imagine, it also has different dimensions. So there's definitely going to be a need to modify this part in order to make it into different parts that are similar to it. Now, considering that this part isn't very complex, and we've done a good job of making things so that they're simple to understand, to be fair, I can easily make a copy of this and just adjust a couple of dimensions here, there, and everywhere, and it wouldn't take too much time. However, there is a tool that makes this a fair bit more fancy, and if used correctly, can be very powerful. That tool is under the Modify tab, and it's called Change Parameters. Now, it's worth mentioning that this tool is very powerful. However, if you don't know what you're doing, you can end up making a fair bit more work for yourself than it's worth. I know this from experience because I worked with a lot of design automation using a program called DriveWorks. This product is like the super advanced version of what we're talking about in the background, but ultimately the same sort of concepts apply. You end up making rules, and those rules get adjusted, and they automatically change different dimensions that are at different points in the history of your part, allowing you to create different parts without really navigating away from one single spot. But let me show you how it works. What you'll see under here in this Parameters tab is our motor. If we click on this arrow here, we can see all of the different features that we use to make the part. And as we expand this, we can also see all of the dimensions that were involved inside of that feature. The cool thing about this is that every single dimension and every single feature has a name and an address, and we can use this to our advantage. So, for example, the first thing I want to adjust here is going to be Extrude 1. We gave this a dimension of minus 48 millimeters. That gave us the body length. So I'm going to change the name here from D6 to body length. Pressing enter on this will change its name. And I can press this little star over here on the left, and that'll bring it up into our favorites. So now, if I wanted to adjust the length of this body, all I need to do is come up here to this expression and change this number right here from, let's say, minus 48 to just minus 40. And then hit enter. And that automatically changes that extrude. So as you can imagine, we can build out a quick little table here that allows us to go into several different features without having to right-click on these and edit them every single time. So let's do that. Extrude number 2 was the hub. We don't have anything there that we need to adjust. However, the length of the shaft is going to be something that I want to capture. So this is going to be shaft length. So I'm renaming that one shaft length, and I will save that one as well. Beneath that was an extrude offset from the front of our shaft that gave us the flat. So I'm going to name this flat length, and then I'll favorite that one as well. The next thing is that we have these fastener holes on the front of this part, and the actual depth of those holes change depending on how big the body is. So I'm going to capture this one as hole depth. Now finally, we used a couple of planes to split this body into 3 pieces, and those worked with an offset. Now that dimension is minus 10 millimeters. However, the tricky thing about this one is that it's not the same every time. So what I want to do is to adjust that dimension based on how deep the holes are. So to do this, I'm going to create a unique user parameter. So I'm going to click the plus here, and I'm going to name this end cap length. Now here's where things are going to get really interesting. Because I've already captured a couple of dimensions up here, I can use this as a variable in a formula. So I want to go like this. Hole depth. I can click on that. That'll give me the dimension of 4.5 millimeters. I'm going to take that and I'm going to multiply it by 2. And then I'll add one more to it, and that gets me the value of 10. So as I adjust the hole depth based on different drawings, I'll automatically recreate the end caps based on this formula. And the name for that formula is going to be end cap length. So let me go ahead and click OK. And you can see that user parameter shows up right there. So let me go ahead and hit OK to hide the parameters right now. And what I want to do next is to change the dimension that I used for plane here. So I'm going to go ahead and right-click on that and go into Edit Features. And rather than minus 10 millimeters, I'm going to delete that and start typing end cap length. And you can see it pops up right here. I can click that. That's going to give me the value, which in this case is 10 millimeters. It's currently going the wrong direction. So I'm going to go to the beginning of that name right there and input a negative symbol. So now technically this is a formula, but all I'm doing here is taking the negative of the value that I'm calculating from the user parameter. And then I can enter. So that offsets this minus 10 millimeters. I'm going to do the exact same thing for the other plane. So minus, then E, end cap length, and then press enter. Now it's worth mentioning that we really can't go into this feature right here and change this length because it's pulling from a user parameter. However, the values that we have created, we can actually just go back here. And if we wanted to change this from, let's say, -48 to -50, I can do that right here, just like I would normally adjust a model. And I don't even have to go into the change parameters menu here in order to make a change. However, if I wanted to quickly change all of these different values based on the next drawing, I can do that right here. So you can see by capturing the parameters that already exist, it's a very passive way of being able to adjust everything from one location, rather than hard driving it from a user parameter. My number one tip for working with parameters here is to make the parameters the last thing you do. And to make the first thing that you do is to make the sketch as flexible and as precise as you possibly can. That way, everything that you change here will stretch predictably, and you don't need to capture more values over here than you actually need. Otherwise, if you start here in order to drive the model in the first place, you can end up making a web that's kind of hard to untangle. Now let's put this to good use by adjusting our large motor down to a really small motor. So from that drawing, our dimension here is no longer going to be -48 millimeters, it's going to be -20. I'll hit enter, that changes the length there. Some things are having an issue, don't worry about that. The shaft length is going to be 20 millimeters. The cut for the flat is going to be -16.5 millimeters on this model. There we go. Okay, now finally I need to change the hole depth. And on this model, it's 2.5 millimeter. And that changes the end caps here to 6 millimeters. And I click OK, and you can see that I've automatically adjusted this body. Pretty cool. It looks like we lost the appearance, though. I think that might have happened when we crushed it down a little bit too small. So actually, you know what? If I undo that and I start from the bottom and work my way up, then I think that might work better. So if I go from this to 2.5, there we go. This is -16.5, it's 20 millimeters, and this is -20. There we go. See how quickly that goes? And this time we didn't lose it. I just had to work backwards. So there you have it, the power of parameters. As you can see there, it's a really cool tool, and it can save you a lot of time. As we move on through the lessons and the models get more and more involved, I do want to mention that user parameters are useful, however I'm not going to cover them again. At this point the information would just be redundant and I want to focus on the techniques that ultimately create the part. However, if you see some good opportunities for user parameters and you like to play with them, then feel free to add them to your part at the end of the lesson. So if you're ready, let's move on to the next lesson.